So, Michael, if you want to come and chit chat with us, come on, baby. You can
Straight
come over
up.
here and call what they call dog,
Raggedy
dog.
dog.
Funky dog hit.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to our channel. Thank you so much for joining us again. We are here. Our time was wasted, so we coming on back to waste your time. Okay. So I'm Intisar. You can call me Zar. This is my beautiful husband Joseph. If you ain't know that already, okay. Welcome on in. Welcome on in. If you're new here, do us a favor, hit that subscribe button, okay? Make sure you're a part of this gang. And if you're not new, hey, boo, thank you for coming on back and chit chatting with us. I hope life is good and abundant and you're feeling great today. We're talking about Married at First Sight. See, I'm gonna be honest, and not because I don't love chit chatting with you guys and really responding in the comments, but Joe knows I really did not want to do this one today. And it's primarily because I felt like that episode, the Where Are They Now episode, was so forced.
Well, yeah, I mean, it definitely was forced, and I think that a lot of people felt the same way. So in reality, you know, we aren't here to break news.
Right.
This is
That's
a
how we
support
felt about
group,
it.
okay? And I know that I know from Twitter that it was a lot of people who was feeling the same way because I was tweeting during the episode and getting a lot of love back. It's
You was
funny
getting a lot
because
of love
weeks
back?
ago I was getting a lot of hate back. And
You was
so,
getting a lot of hate?
not a lot of hate, but everybody had something to say about the Elijah and Katina situation,
Yeah.
or everybody had something to say about
Jasmine.
Jasmina and Michael and everything
Yeah.
like
And
that.
then you was right.
Yeah, how about that? So
Let me give you the
so
props, baby.
in reference to that stuff, was getting a lot of love back because everybody was kind of in solidarity when I was tweeting about why I felt like the Mean Girls of Lifetime got all the airtime in Jasmina, Lindsay, and Alyssa. Why I felt like why was Alyssa even on the Where Are They? We Do Not Care.
We do not care. And I really wonder, and I want to do a poll below. Okay, so we starting this off early. I want to do a poll below. Do y'all or don't y'all care about where Alyssa is at in her life right now? Because I'm curious, and I'm not even curious. I think that okay for the Where Are They Now. I think because she was originally a part of the cast, I don't really have an issue with them kind of checking in on her. I had an issue where they kind of made a segment about her. That bothered me.
Completely about first of all,
That bothered me.
it was completely about her, and they went as far as to pair her up with somebody else
Who was a douchebag.
who was also somebody who deserved no more airtime.
None.
They went as far as to pair her up and then film them together, and then film her telling us the backstory of how they got together, like we care.
But the bigger thing here is that it was all fixed.
It was so produced, which was another thing that a lot of people on Twitter was in solidarity about. Like this, everybody called it and was just like, "This is just so scripted."
It was too scripted. It was like watching Days of Our Lives, and I gave that up in the 4th grade when my granny was done with it. So I'm done. Like I just felt like it was giving soap opera realness, and it's just not where we are in our lives right now.
Super soapy.
You know what I mean? It was like, oh. I was so outdone. If I'm being honest, I was very surprised at how produced it didn't have to be that way. Like Lindsay being a trash bag was enough.
Yeah.
To me.
What was up with Lindsay? Like
Lindsay, and I'm not even a girl. Let me tell you something. If you know me, I'm a girl. I'm about, if we being honest, I'm about 25, 30 pounds heavier than what I usually am. So I don't even come at girls about their weight or nothing like that because I know how I know the struggle. You know what I mean? But in however, Lindsay looked a mess.
She looked a mess.
Lindsay
it wasn't
looked
even
like,
about her weight. It was just about her
my
sloppiness.
weight. My weight is happy.
She was just
her
a
weight
mess.
is sloppy as hell.
Yeah,
Okay,
but to your point, she looked depressed
Yeah.
to me. I said that to
Yeah.
Zar. I said Lindsay
She
looks
did.
she looks like destroyed. You know what I mean? Even when she walked into the lawyer's office, it was just like,
But did
you
y'all
look a mess.
see?
She looked like,
Did y'all see the jacket Lindsay had on?
well, yeah, she wore the
Out here
whole
looking
episode.
like she in the Kanye West video.
She wore the whole episode, and then she wore two of them to the
She was
little
so proud of
get-together
that
house
ugly.
or whatever that
She
was.
it was a sale. It was a sale at Dots, and
I don't know
it
what
was
that
a
was.
two. It was a buy one get one, and she thought I'm about to light them on fire with this fit. Wait till they see this fire jumping.
I don't understand.
But
why
Lindsay
we
got a
saw-
mansion in the bag, so we need to stop talking about her.
Well, how about that? First of all, Lindsay doesn't even live here anymore. Why is she here? Right? You moved away, Lindsay.
You think they paid for her flight?
Absolutely. The same way that they paid for what's his name? Whoever.
Oh, Chris or whatever his name. What's his name?
I don't remember.
I don't know.
his
He's
name.
irrelevant.
It doesn't matter. But in the same way they paid for that idiot to come
Yeah.
back to fly to
Terrible.
Boston to go meet with her, for her to air him out
Terrible.
like she was his woman. Like, did y'all do this? If your
But also-
lifetime, did y'all do this to like annoy people?
But also, how about that? But also, being somebody who has gone through this kind of, you don't even ever have to look at the person if you don't want to. When I mean, like,
Yeah,
you
even-
ain't got to look at your lawyer if you don't want to. Fuck looking at them.
The-
You don't even got to go and say that to your lawyer if you don't want to. You could literally just leave it up to them. That should have been a no
The
contest.
fact that
easy
they
as-
was like, well, we'll give you some time produced.
I mean, Joe.
So
I mean,
produced.
produced. I mean, produced.
They don't need time together,
You don't,
y'all.
not only do you not mean, I know I don't want to be here like debunking things that are factual. Like I don't want to be that kind of person. But I also feel like I don't like two things I don't like. Time is my most precious commodity. I don't like when my time is wasted, and I don't like to be played. Like I feel like Lifetime is
Yeah.
trying to play us high key with these like y'all could just put out real authentic content. Y'all can do it in a manner that's not drawn out for 20 weeks,
Yeah.
and we would still love it.
Even Chris and Olivia was produced, and I have no issue with Chris and Olivia being together and dating.
and they probably will work out.
But it felt like they themselves didn't bring themselves together. Truthfully and honestly, it felt like, let's go find somebody from another season. Y'all could have found Chris somebody else in Boston and brought her to the house.
But how about this? Olivia gonna be by her goddamn self if she thinks somebody gonna be in the house with a cat and they allergic. Like, you care more about the cats than you care about having a spouse.
With all
That'd
due
be the problem with y'all. Y'all be real weird up here. Y'all will talk to these animals but won't talk to human beings.
that part.
And then that's why y'all be wondering why y'all single.
With
'cause
all
your cat is your
with all
man.
due respect to Olivia, we didn't need her to be there. They
She
coulda-
didn't give nothing
they
in her own season.
because
What did y'all bring her back
looked,
to give? in
She
this-
looked so very uncomfortable.
I mean,
And it was
terribly
just like, y'all could have just,
terribly.
I'm sure that there are plenty of people in Chris's DMs right now that live in Boston, right? Y'all could have just been like, Chris, whoever you've been talking to, bring her to the house. We want to film you guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it
Like, you
felt-
didn't need to fly her out here. You could tell she doesn't know Chris that well. Even if let's go with the premise that he was in her DMs and whatever. Let's go with that.
Now I do believe do I?
But I'm saying let's go with that. It was still very obvious that they hadn't been talking that much, and she doesn't really know him like that.
It was too obvious. It was too obvious because if I had known, like I would have been excited to see, like, hey, how you doing? Like, I can't believe we get to meet. She would have been a little bit more warm.
Yeah, it was none of that.
The whole thing to me was very much overdone. Now, let me be clear though. What I did like is the idea that we want to get these people back out there and doing their thing. I did love that aspect of it. But however,
These people being Chris, not Alyssa or Jasmine, we don't care.
we do not care. And with all due respect to, Jasmina being as beautiful as she is, we never have to see her face again.
Ever again. Like,
She
we
didn't
don't
give
need to
nothing
see
during the season.
at
She ain't
all.
giving nothing now. We don't need to see you. You really are dust. And I mean that with all due
To
respect.
be honest, and then she
You
sat
really
up
are
there and did the
dust.
same thing that she always does with her when her and Michael talk, which is why I didn't want Michael to take her upstairs and have a conversation with her,
But
because it was just the same thing that we watched for the last 2-3 weeks of Jasmina gaslighting the hell out of Michael, talking over him, and then Michael just tapping out and not saying anything, and then everybody, nothing is resolved, everything goes back to how it was. It was the same thing. It was just like, well, why are we taping this again?
So let me say what I think my perspective is on Michael. Michael's a Pisces. Y'all know I live and I'm very madly in love with the Pisces. But big but Pisces are highly emotionally sensitive. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean that in a way. So I do believe if him and her were arguing, he may have can't come off a little bit more assertive. I don't think he was abusive. I don't think he said anything aggressive. I think he was assertive about his point because they could be very matter of factly. And I think that he was trying his best not to show up that way so he wouldn't be viewed as this like angry black man, when in fact he has real life feelings about things. He just doesn't know how to get them across.
So what Michael's own definition of their dynamic in these moments was what he said on the show when he brought her upstairs, because he explained why he was the same way in the decision day. He said, "You start talking, you start going on off the deep end on a story that I felt like not only was not just a difference of perspectives, but was not even at all true.
Right.
You go off on this tangent about it, and it gets to the point where I'm just like, I'm done with this, and I don't say anything because I'm just done with the conversation." He said, "This is why I want to talk to you now," and it just happened again. We just watched it play out again.
The issue I have with this whole situation, and I really want to put a pin in this because I don't, Jasmina can go on ahead. Like I'm done.
1,000%.
But the thing I want to say is that what keeps bothering me about this situation is the lack of intimacy and how she gaslit him into feeling like him wanting intimacy in his relationship. When I mean intimacy, I mean all types of intimacy. I mean like emotional intimacy, mental intimacy, physical intimacy, all those things. She gaslit him like, "Oh well, you just trying to get in the bed with people too soon." And it's like, no, like we're so far past the point of dating. We've literally come to the altar, signed papers, and said we're married, and you give me nothing. And then you expect for me in turn to give you everything.
Yeah. It's always, I don't know you enough, Michael.
It's always, I don't know you enough. It's always, you got to give. And it's like to see him in that moment at the cabin or whatever the case may be. It was kind of, I was sad because I feel like he's upset, but I feel like part of it is because he didn't get his point across.
That's
So
he
gonna
be
having this conversation in his brain.
He is
for years to come, okay? Because he didn't get it off. You know what I mean? So, Michael, if you want to come and chit chat with us, come on, baby. You can come over here and call what they call a dog,
raggedy dog.
Let Snoop say it. Let Snoop say it. Because you could come over here and say it because we get it. Like I can only imagine trying to have affection with somebody, and I've been Jasmina in a relationship, and when I look back on it, being in my adult life, I think it's sad. And I feel a way for how I treated that person. You know what I mean? Not even like, oh, I should have been swinging from chandeliers. More like intimacy is so important in relationships when you're building with somebody. It's like you do need a little bit of touch, a little bit of hug, a little bit of kiss to get you to the next level. You know what I mean? Me and Joe could feel it in our house. The energy is shifted if a week go by and we haven't been physically intimate, we could feel it.
1,000%. But I think in this situation, Jasmina was just full of shit the whole time. She could have left when Alyssa left.
And that's my point. And that, baby, was what I was trying to get at. You knew from jump you ain't like that man. Yeah. You wasted his motherfucking time. You was really hire help if we really calling it what it is.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know what I mean? That's what's disheartening and annoying to me about it. And he out here fighting for his life with a bitch who he out here drowning. She don't even know how to swim, but she got on a life guard vest.
1,000%.
Lying like a motherfucker. Like, you know what I mean? That's the real corny part about it to me.
1,000%. Because when you really are invested in something and you really care, you look a lot more like Michael and Gill. You look a lot more like Michael and Gill in the reunion
Yeah.
aspects of the show than you do Jasmina and Mirla.
Right.
They
They
all
was never
smiles, they
given anything.
carefree, they could
Yeah.
give a fuck less.
Yeah.
Their energy is literally like, I do not care. Oh, we cool. We working on being friends and da,
Yep.
da, da. Everything is giggly. They do not. They don't care.
Yep.
They don't care, and you only don't care when you were never invested in this at all. You know
And
what I
that is a
mean?
fact, my
And so
love.
the reason when you see these men like Gill, like Michael, like Mark, tearing up in a reunion or getting upset to the point where they don't want to talk
Yep.
about through the rest of the segment and stuff like that. These are people who were invested, right? When you see those type of emotions, whether it be outwardly or inwardly, you
Yep.
can tell. Mark didn't say much of nothing in the reunion, but you could tell he was fucked up,
That's a fact.
right?
That's
Gill
a
was
fact.
crying.
Yeah.
Gill was all out bawling. Michael didn't cry, but Michael was like, you could
Michael
tell,
couldn't
you
get a
could
word
tell
in edgewise.
you could tell he was messed up. So it was just like, it's the fact that Jasmina pulled the wool over some of your eyes to even part your lips to say, well, he got his issues and like this wasn't about everybody got issues. This ain't about issues. This is about a fact that one half of the relationship was invested and involved and committed to the process, and the other half was a complete bullshitter for the entire season.
And y'all need to give her the same energy y'all be giving these men.
1,000%.
The way she said it, she was basically Chris. She just needed a baby daddy.
1,000%. And then for them to allow for production to allow this lightheartedness filming around Lindsay and Jasmina and Alyssa. Alyssa came on the show with a patch on her hoodie that said, "I'm a good person." They let her film with that.
And
that shit is not funny.
And I near you mother jumpers better buy one. My thing is, I'm so done. And the problem I'm having is, and not because, you know what, man, the thing is, I believe in equity and equality. So part of me is like, well, men been dogging women out for years. Maybe it's their turn or whatever. But the other part of it is like,
it ain't about them dogging. It's about how we react to it. They would, if it was a guy, they would. Like, we've seen it happen with Chris. You just brought it up. Imagine Chris coming onto the reunion with a slogan on his shirt that say, "Your face ain't cute, but your butt is fat." Imagine him wearing it on his chest.
First of all, I can't. She's such trash. I can't. And I don't even talk. I'm not. Joe knows I'm never nasty like that when I talk about people because I'm real. I love people, but she is trash, like a trash human being, and dust. I wanted to talk about the guys, Michael, Elijah Wan, and I'm going to butcher this young man's name.
She's talking about the gentleman where they had to sit down and it was Michael and him and Elijah.
Yes.
And they talked about how Elijah and him knew each other before he met Michael. I guess he just met Michael out in the streets. But yeah, go ahead.
Which I love. Like I absolutely
cool.
Positively love. And I love that they were able to share in this experience and both find a wife. And I hope he used him as a resource. Like I hope he, like, not just in this moment that was overly produced by Lifetime, but like, you know what I mean? Just in general, because I think it's important for married men to be around married men. Because still sharp and still, you know what I mean? And then a lot of times you realize we all going through it. It ain't that deep. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But Elijah Wan brought up something. Elijah Wan and Katina brought up something that I thought was really fascinating. And they were talking about being around their spouse too much and what that feels like, and like feeling like you got to get your life back. How do you feel?
And to be honest, I just think that they were, Katina especially, I think that she's just nervous, and she said it. She said this. This is me taking bits and pieces of things that she said throughout the season. She's nervous. She's never been in. I don't know if she actually said I've never been in love before or been in like a relationship this serious that has led to love before. But she's basically alluded to that, and that can bring on nerves of like, am I doing this too much? Am I not doing this enough? You know what I mean? I think she's just a little nervous, and I think once she sinks in, she'll realize
that's the only place you need to be, Chad. Because I was sitting there, I thought, and not even in a bad way, I was really listening because they're coming from our perspective where they're also a brand new couple.
Yeah.
So you got to take that perspective
And these
into
are things that you're
consideration
thinking
too.
about.
And those are things
Trying
that you
to
think
place
about
work to do with your hands.
when you're in a new couple and you're around each other all the time. You're like, wait, man, am I being too clingy? Like, do
Did
he
I
like
call
that
him
I'm
too
here?
much?
Yes,
Am I
like,
texting her too much? Am I
right.
asking too many questions?
Those are things that you think
That's just
about.
new stuff.
But I also believe that, like, anybody who know me know my husband like my pocketbook. He going everywhere I'm at.
Straight up.
Okay. Like everywhere. And it's in everywhere we can. And it's primarily because, like, you grow. I think our situation may be a little bit different in that we were away from each other for so long, and now that we're together, we're like together.
I think I I don't think that's it at all, to be honest. I think that even before we were apart from each other, we're best friends. We've always been best friends. So we've always loved each other's company
Was that always your best
as
friend?
best friend. Yeah, yeah. Well, speaking for me, yeah, right. And I think that that's just the dynamic of some people's relationships, right? Like, um, I have a good friend who was married. I could say his name because I'm not saying anything like deep or our friend Jimmy, and shout out Jimmy and
Oh
Deja.
yeah, yeah,
We
yeah.
publicly love them, so
We
I can
do publicly
yeah.
love. Mwah, mwah,
Jimmy and
mwah.
Deja. When Jimmy first met Deja, it was at a party.
Mhm.
They kicked it, like it felt like they kicked it all night. And the next week, Jimmy was with Deja every day that week, right?
Mhm.
The following week after that, it was the same thing. It never changed. They just ended up getting married, and years later, it's kind of still that way. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Right.
so it's just the dynamic of certain. They just love their best
And when you
friends,
in
and there's nothing
love,
wrong with that. That's the dynamic of their relationship. It's not. We're not saying that everybody's relationship got to be like that, but some people just genuinely like to be around their spouse as a person. You know what I mean? And there's
I
nothing wrong
agree.
with that. I think when you are in a new situation, you're always constantly checking the temperature, as you should, because
Yeah.
is this too much for you? Some people need their whatever their space is. You know what I mean? I think for us, life gives you space. You know what I mean? Like whenever she tells me, well, I just thought you needed space. I don't need space from you because life gives me space. Like, right? You go to work, I go to work, I go to work and leave the city for days
Yeah.
on end. I don't need space when we are actually in the same vicinity and things like that. And I'm sure other people who just work a 9 to 5 feel the same way. Like, I leave the house for 8 hours. I don't need space. I want to
Yeah.
be around you. You know what I'm saying? So I think that when you're new and you're constantly checking the temperature of the other person, you do. It's just a natural thing of like, should I, whatever. You don't want to, do too much or do too little. But I think for Katina and Olajuwon, that's all it is. It's just
Yeah, and I want
nerves.
them to lock in, and I want them to be happily married. And I think that, but I also
And if
think
y'all want to be around each other all the time, be around each
be
other all the
around
time.
each
Ain't
other
nothing
all
wrong
the
with that.
motherfucking time.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Because I also think that people shame people who are happily
Oh,
married.
1,000%.
Like,
That's a whole nother conversation.
that's a big
for another day.
conversation, because you know what? When I hear people talk about marriage, I'm like, one, have you ever been married? And two, first of all, have you ever been even in a relationship where somebody want to talk to you on the phone for longer than like 45 minutes,
Yeah.
15 minutes? Like, because people, like, I think that marriage is such a special thing. And when you find your person, it's so fun. It's so, like, you know what I mean? Like, you really want to be in the mix and locked in with them. And I think that that's the beauty of being a newlywed. Like, I think we're still in newlywed bliss, and I want them to keep experiencing that for as long as they possibly can. Like, don't wait to get all old and cantankerous and don't want to be around each other right now. This ain't the
Yeah.
time.
Right.
Y'all
But-
should be. Y'all
but-
should be screwing all day, every day. Y'all should be
But
having
you
a good
know what?
time, all that.
The God's honest truth is that some of that is probably from seeds being laid.
It's not even
from
up for debate.
friends around, or just not even friends, but acquaintances, social media, whatever, where people happy shame couples.
They
It
do.
is it is a real thing.
Oh, y'all
Oh.
y'all like to be around each other that much?
Yeah.
Yes, bitch.
Yeah. It's really a thing.
Yes.
It's really a deep
He
thing.
got to go everywhere with you? Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, let me tell y'all a couple.
It's a big thing with women too.
I
Like,
think it's big with men too.
I don't think it is.
I think they're
I don't think
different.
it is as big.
Why you don't think it is as big?
I think I hear a lot more, just personally, a lot more happy shaming of couples from girlfriends.
But I think
Like,
men do
damn,
it
oh,
in a different way.
you can't come with us. You always with him. Da, 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 da.
But I think
Like
men.
deep conversations where females are like frozen out from their friend group because somebody is retaliating low key.
No, okay, so one, yes, but two,
I feel like I just put somebody's business
I
out there,
think
but I
men do it
did.
in a different way though. I think men do it in a way that's like not like retaliatory, but they'll excuse bad behavior. They won't, like, you know what I mean? Like, you could be smiling up in a bitch face, a man gonna be like, la, 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 like that shit is funny and everything like that. Like, men do it in a different way. I do think that, we both suffer from the same issue where people try to diminish marriage. I do think that. And I do think that women, is a population of women who are like, you know what I hate? I hate when people say like, "Oh well, you choosing him, he ain't gonna be here. When he not here, I'm gonna be the one that clean up everything." Like, as if you're like choosing your friend, like your husband over your friend, and it's like, I always tell people all the time,
I hear about that a lot.
you will never. It don't matter what earth, how many steps on this earth you walk, you'll never know me as a wife. You will never know that aspect. And this is a big thing I say when I talk to people about like minding their business when it comes to other people's marriages and everything like that too. But the reality is that like people will get mad at you because you want to have a fully sustaining, healthy, happy relationship with your husband, your spouse, and you locked in with the person that you locked in, and you not giving them the attention that you used to. And it's like, we are friends, and I love you.
That's what I'm saying. I think people. I think one.
Let me tell you,
I, th-
if
I think
it's you or Joe, it's
I
gonna be
think
Joe.
I think
Period.
people will get mad at you for prioritizing.
That's what it
number
is.
one.
It's prioritizing.
But I think it's the possessiveness, and it's understandable in a lot of girlfriend relationships. Like I
it's
get it.
different. Yeah,
It's different, but I
yeah.
think that possessiveness
Your men ain't
is
like
what
that.
is. I mean, I've heard of women stop talking to girlfriends because they would date man or their husband. You know what I mean? Like it's like people will be upset because you prioritize. You are not the priority as my friend, respectfully so.
Period.
My wife is my priority. You know what I'm saying? And the fact that people don't get that even over your feelings, like, you know what I mean? Like, did I feel a certain type of way when our homie Jimmy didn't come out with us as much as he used to? As a human, yeah, because I miss my friend. Was I upset with him? No. Like, for prioritizing his woman? No. And I think that that's the difference. Like, people will feel entitled to your time and to your attention, even over your spouse. I ain't even talking about your girlfriend, like even over your wife or your husband, which is weird. Y'all need to talk to somebody about that. Like, that is weird for you to literally get upset at your girlfriend, your female friend, to the point where you'll stop talking to her because she spent time with her man or some shit. Like, y'all are insane.
I think anybody. I don't think it's limited to women that women do stuff like that.
I didn't say it was limited. I just
Yeah, I
said
don't
I
think
see
it's
it more.
limited to women, but I do think that like it's something to how single people, even when people were like, when we were getting married, like people used to be like, "Oh, you want to get married?" And I'm like, Joe's life
That's
is
a lonely
15.
thing,
I'm
though.
not even sure, but I'm sure Joe's life is 15 times better with me than it was without.
That's a lonely thing, though.
You think?
I think people, a defense mechanism for a lot of people is like, no, it ain't for me. I wouldn't do that. I like to be free. I want to do this. I want to, you know what I mean?
Oh
It's
yeah,
a
you
defense
right.
thing. You know what I mean? Because I've heard that from people, and then they've met somebody and then got engaged.
Me too. And I know someone particular, but I ain't gonna put her business out there.
I
But
do
I'm happy
too.
for her. I'm
Yeah.
happy for her. You know what I mean? Because it does take somebody to come into your life and change your mind. Y'all got to get into a more abundant mindset, though. Like,
That's
you
what
know
it
what I
is. The
mean?
more abundant mindset, because people will argue you down.
Yeah, no.
Just be open to the fact that it could happen. You don't, the idea that of wanting to be around somebody all the time or a lot more than you've ever experienced in your life, a lot of y'all is limited because y'all have never met anybody who you would want to be around that much,
And y'all
right?
never seen
All
it.
we
Your
saying
mother
is
ain't never
be
been
open
married.
to
Your
the
daddy
fact,
ain't never
right?
been married. You don't know nobody who married. Your friends is married, and they'll come to you and tell you about the arguments, but they ain't telling you about how they love being around their
Right,
husband.
and how they ain't leaving.
Exactly.
Be all we saying is be open to the fact that it could possibly happen. I had somebody I work with argue me down about how he was not getting married and how marriage, even a constitutional marriage, didn't make sense to him, how it was not for him, and blah 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 blah. Y'all know, less than 6 months later, he was engaged and now he's married. Okay, so this is, and I'm sure in that moment, that's how he felt. My issue with him was you wasn't even open to the fact that you can meet somebody and all of this.
Yeah.
You can meet somebody and all of this can change.
Right.
You can't see past
Y'all do
tomorrow
not have all the answers
at
Sway.
all. Just be all.
But that's the thing. Know what y'all don't know. Like, it's so fascinating to me how people just be having these like mad, strong ass perspective. Like certain things you can control, right? Like you can control like your finances, shit like that. Like certain things you can control. So I understand that. But then on the other hand, it's like love is such a fascinating dynamic thing. You really and it requires self-love, but also the love of somebody else. That's something you really can't control.
No,
you can't control any aspect of that. So when I'm hearing people talk, I'm like, you're saying that from your very limited perspective.
Yeah.
And if you thought more abundantly, you would have all the things. Like you would have this person if you vibrated on that certain level. You know what I mean? Which is why we know Alyssa ain't a good person, because she ain't got no fucking okay? Or at least at that time she didn't. You know what I mean? And I think that, but I really want us to get away from, I think so often people think marriage and they think they've seen one and they think they know the story of all.
Oh, that's a fact. That's a fact.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it's like, and it's just like, no, like marriages are so not one size fits all. They're so like, tailored to whomever those two people are. I mean, you could be married 20 times and have 20 different marriages.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, 20 completely different marriages. You might be the same motherfucker, but it's like, it's different. You know what I mean? And I just think that like they shouldn't be ashamed of wanting to be around each other. I do think
not at all. Ignore them. Ignore the fluff.
Because guess what? Your new identity is Katina and Olajuwon.
Right.
That's your identity now. And that's okay. People think like another thing I don't like, I'm just thinking about all the things that people saying. Another thing that be bothering me is how much people want to be independent but don't want to be lonely.
How about that?
I've been dropping gems today.
Yeah, you on fire.
I've been on fire.
That's
you know
right.
what? I've been answering a lot of technical questions this morning, so my brain is like warmed
That's
up.
what it
My
is.
brain is warmed up. But it's like I really find that fascinating. Like first of all, I hate the word independent. It's just such a silly word.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're a goddamn adult.
Right.
When you pay your bills, I'm not an independent woman. I'm a very dependent woman. Okay, because don't nothing move in my life unless my husband is moving it. Hello. So it's like, you know what I mean. And I mean that. And I'm very dependent on his presence, his money, his spirituality, everything. I'm dependent on it all. So it's like, for me, when I hear people say that, I understand the pride that comes with managing and getting stuff on your own.
But you got to grow up and get over that. I don't get it. I don't feel no less of a man because I depend on my wife for certain stuff in my life.
What you depend on me for?
It's everything. You know what I mean? But because when you do life together and you're married, like everything is like this, right?
Yeah,
so true. My point is though, no one cares. No one from the people who know, like no one cares. Nobody from a marriage or nobody who understands what doing life is like and how you
cares. Like we do not care.
Nobody
I gotta be my own person.
Yeah, like nobody cares.
I am my own person. I have my own things, but everything I do with my husband in mind, and I do with us in mind. Like everything is about us. I had this conversation with somebody, and we were speaking about. We're just talking shit at this point, but I figured, y'all might like this. We were having a conversation about once,
but it's all relative. This is all going
relevant,
back to what we were talking about with Katina Olajuwon. But yeah.
But we were talking about like, what are you looking for in a person and a spouse? And they were giving like these really generic answers. Like, I want them to be successful. Like, what does success look like?
Right.
I want them to be ambitious. What does ambition look like? And they were like, well, the textbook definition, like the dictionary definition. I'm like, well, somebody can be ambitious about them and don't give a fuck about you.
How about that?
You don't but y'all just be saying stuff.
Yeah.
Just be like, y'all just be saying stuff just to say it, and it sounds so.
Saying some shit you heard somebody else.
Oh
say,
my
God!
Good. And in your mind, y'all think it sounds like that's what I mean. When in reality, it's like all you doing, as selfish as it sounds, you ain't even thinking about the person that you're trying to manifest. You're thinking about yourself. That's
Mhm.
why you're giving these selfish, really, surface ass answers. Because if you were thinking about the life that you wanted, you would speak that into existence. Like I
Mhm.
said, it means nothing to me that Joe is ambitious if he's not ambitious about us.
Right. Because there's a lot of ambitious, wealthy motherfuckers that is giving their spouses dust, girlfriends dust, dating people dust. They got
Y'all gotta,
they
if
got
you
a
want a
lot of
generous
ambition, a
man,
lot of
not a rich man.
success, a lot of all
Exactly.
of this,
Exactly.
and they're giving dust. And I think
Dust.
that, like, you, to your point, getting specific about the things that matter to you, and then watching out for those things. Because I think a lot of people ask for stuff that they aren't able to identify, and they'll walk right over it. You know what I mean? Like you say, well, I want somebody to be ambitious, and then you meet somebody who is on fire for you, and because you don't see their ambition in a commercial sense,
Hmm.
you don't recognize it as being ambitious. And because sometimes you get motivated by your spouse to do certain things, right? So somebody can be set on fire. Somebody's ambition can grow to do things in a business aspect, or to do things in a worldly aspect that was rooted from their relationship, right? That the ambition that they had for their spouse fueled their success in the world. We hear people say it all the time about their kids. I was a shit person until I had my son, and then all of a sudden I
Yep.
started a business, and I did this because everything was for my kid, right?
Yep.
There's couples that happen that's the same way.
Even with our friend and they baby, they was like
Absolutely.
they couldn't keep a plant alive, and then they like,
1,000%. So I think
like
that sometimes people ask for stuff, and because it doesn't show up in the package that they thought it was going to be, they
yeah.
completely walk over it, and they still walking around talking about, well, it's the definition.
And it's really about just wanting your life, your marriage, your love to be a certain way. And I think those people aren't wrong for their feelings. Like, don't get me wrong. I just think that the look of it is very, they think it's worldly and it's not. It's limiting. And
It
if you were
is.
thinking more worldly, you would think about, where is he at? What does he look like? What does this man like to do? What does this woman like to do? If I know that I want, this is something that I want. And what exactly does our love life look like? Like, you know what I mean? Like, is I'm just trying to say that. I'm saying all that to say, we want Katina and Elijah want, especially, even Noy and Steve, even though we paid them dust, we want them, and not because we don't like Noy and Steve, just
No, I
because,
think they're gonna be all right.
yeah, I love Noy and Steve, but I do think that they should live and be happy and thrive
Yeah.
in marital bliss. Because people will come and try to trample all over it.
Oh
And
yeah.
I
People
can't
hate happy motherfuckers.
imagine
They hate it.
what they going through after people have watched their lives unfold in this manner, their love unfold in this manner. I can't imagine looking at the tweets and the this and the that, talking about how my husband should be treating me and whoopty whoopty whoop. I can't
Yeah. Well,
imagine
I
it.
know I know Elijah want to turn his comments off. Like, that's how
That
that's
is so
it
sad.
is, and it's just like, this is the world that we live in. But this is why you just got to ignore these motherfuckers.
You do.
You know what I
You
mean?
do. Because you
Especially,
won't hear a married person saying, well, he was wrong.
yeah,
Well,
yeah,
some of them, because people be trying to save face. The
right,
reality is that on some real shit, I, Elijah One ain't no different than a lot of mother jumpers y'all done already talked to.
yeah.
I love that y'all, so everybody's, oh my God. Can I switch gears really?
Yeah, yeah. Go.
So, and this is kind of in line with us talking about manifesting the person that you want. So Sharon posted something today. My good girlfriend Sharon. Hey, Pooh. She posted something today, and it was like something. I think it was on the Shade Room. It was these two young women talking to this young man. He's 27. He's a physicist in the Navy. He literally gets on a thing. They were like, "Oh, you were late." He said, "I'm sorry, I got caught up. I was reading this book." You know what I mean? Whatever the case is. So he's a reader. So there, it's like supposed to be like a dating kind of thing. So she's asking him questions about himself. She was like, "So tell me about yourself." He's like, "Well, I went to university. After university, I got my, BA. I realized I didn't really want to do that. I sat for the physics, like I went to the
Well,
army
but where are you from? England? She said university.
university."
That's what they said. They are the only people who only say
But
university.
you knew what I meant.
But yeah,
But
we've been watching a
the
lot of
point
BBC
is,
shows, so that's where she probably got it.
we watched. How about that? We watched it. How about that? For real, for real. I'm watching it and she's like, well, I'm good on you. So mind you, if you're watching it from my perspective, I'm like, he lit. Like this is the kind of young black man you want to get to know. You know what I mean? Brilliant. You could tell he brilliant. He's smart. He was a handsome man. He looked like Wes from
Oh, okay.
So put that in your brain.
From
Yes. How to Get Away with Murder.
with Murder.
Harry Potter, for real, for real.
Well,
but you know what I mean.
Yeah. Right.
So she hangs up with him, and the girl said, "Well, why would you hang up with him? Like, what was it?" She was like, "Well, I didn't like the way he was talking about himself and was presenting himself, talking about he got this grade on this and he was doing this on that." She was like, "Well, you kind of did the same thing." And she was like, "Well, I know I did the same thing. I just need my man to have a little bit more personality." And it was just like, she was like, "Well, how did you know he didn't have a personality?" You talked on for a minute. It just was like, that's when I see some
that's the
people,
masses. That's the masses.
when I see some people, that was
a lot
it
of people
personified.
That's a lot of people.
Like, are you kidding me? This man he's in the Navy, granted, so it's not like, but the fact that he's that brilliant,
that makes me think of
educated,
Jasmina and Michael.
But I'm the only reason why I'm giving Jasmina grace is because Jasmina was hired help.
Yeah, she was. Well, she shouldn't have been.
She was an
lifetime.
Extra.
She should not have been.
You know what I mean? So that's the only reason why I ain't worried about it, because the real tea is that she was here just to be here and do her thing. But Steve and Noy are moving in with one another finally, I guess, into Steve's apartment, which only made sense. I mean, the reason everybody's talking about Noy's trauma, but the reality is that I'm not sold.
What you mean?
I'm just not buying what she's selling. Like, I'm just not, and I'm not saying that's so terrible. So do not judge me on this. I just feel like, didn't she almost 90-day fiance get married to a man overseas? Somebody do the research and let me know down in the comments. I'm almost certain the last guy that she was with lived in like Britain or something like that.
Yeah, she met him from some. Yeah, it was something to that effect. But did they almost get married?
I don't know. So somebody correct me. But I'm saying, like, so you would do all that, but you don't want to move up the street into this mother jumper house? It's bullshit. It's just bullshit. It's just bullshit.
I don't know, but
and I hate to say that, because
but where I'm gonna give her points is that she said she cut her time down. She about to move in a couple months now. Ain't that what they said?
But to me, that's weird too.
What?
Like, I just felt like it was something else. Like, I don't know.
I'm giving it some grace. Yeah, because it was it did seem true to the story that they told us, right?
Okay.
So at the reunion and so on, the story was, we just want to take some time. We want to get to know each other more, blah, 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 right? Yeah. And then it was just like, well, she's comes over a lot. Now she has a draw. She has da-da-da-da. And now it was 6 months. Now we're doing 3 months. And now we're doing renovation. So it seems like but that's what I said about couples kind of wanting to take their time when the cameras go off, because I understand that it's a jarring situation. Like, boom, you married, you meeting their parents, you don't even know their middle name, and you trying to remember her mama name and her dad name and all this other stuff, and then y'all moving in together, and then it's a lot, and then you film it. So I get the aspect of being like, we want to stay together, but we also want to slow down a little bit so that we don't trip over our own feet. I was kind of
bored with it. You know what?
But it is.
Let me say this, but you're right.
Boring.
But you're right, and it is boring. And for us,
right, it is.
For them, I'm sure it's dynamic. So I'm not really. I don't want to come at Noy and Steve like that, because I actually am very happy for them, and I do think that you're right. I think that they do need the opportunity to take a step back and, okay, what are we doing? Like, where do we want to be? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that's important. I do. So I'm gonna eat crow on that one. I don't mind.
Well, I mean, I'm sure they'll do another. Where are they at now? 6 weeks from now.
Don't do it. We don't need another one. We already getting a new season in like
we getting 3 days. Season tomorrow, y'all. Like but
I really want to know, do y'all really think, I got another question for everybody down below. Do y'all really think that people want to get married? And I don't want to use the word desperately, but this bad. Like, do you think that people really are longing for that kind of companionship that they'll put their um fate into somebody else's
I
hand.
do believe, yes, I do believe that there are more people than not
Okay.
that are really um longing for that type of
I know a
companionship,
couple people I would tell,
and
go ahead, do
who
it.
have not had the opportunity, and or feel like they themselves have tried and failed and they
Yeah.
want somebody else to try. And I think that it's there's more people out there than not, because we live in a society where like it's not really normal, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like arranged marriages is not a thing in America, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So
True.
I think there are a
Which
lot.
Indian matchmaker gotta come back
They
on.
got to come back on. So I think there are more people than not. I also think that we are in a time where there's also a lot of people who just want to be on TV,
That's my
who
question,
just want to
babe.
be on reality television,
That's
who
my
just want to
question.
get their name up, get their followers up. People like the young lady from the other season where they basically outed and said like she came on as an influencer. She's trying to get her Joan up. Yeah, a lot of people feel that way about Jasmina. I feel that way about Jasmina as
People
well.
feel that way about
Yeah.
Jasmine.
So I think that there's two things that could be true. Like I just think there's a lot of people who wouldn't tell their friends or their
Mm-hmm.
family, but oh, that I got an arranged marriage, but they tell them I got cast on this TV show. Y'all with that, huh? You know what I mean?
Mm. Well, they all go to this house, which was also weird because no, let's talk about the elephant in the room. Whatever the man name is in Alyssa, apparently that man and Lindsay have been exchanging DMs.
Yeah, apparently they knew each other, and it was really not that deep. Like apparently it was just a situation of they talked here and there, uh, uh, on Instagram. Alyssa thinks that he's her man, so she feels the need to air him out at the coffee shop or whatever wherever they were, and he was sitting there like, "Are you serious?"
He like, I'm only here because they paid me to be
Literally,
here. Whoa. I
literally.
don't give a damn about you.
I can't, but it was just so on par
But
for
what's even
Alyssa.
his responses to her was giving douchey. Were y'all listening to him talk on their date? It was very much like
I really wasn't. I was over it. The
it was.
fact that
It
they
wasn't
filmed their
given.
date was annoying to me. Like she should
I
not
just
be.
don't like it. I feel
You
like
don't let somebody trounce on another person on your airways and then bring her another person to date and then film them.
that's
I've
what
never seen that
she
happen in the history of the
literally
show.
broke the fourth wall, whatever you call it, and literally was saying how y'all did the wrong thing. She told y'all not to match her if y'all ain't had the right person. She said all those things, and then y'all would bring her back. And you know what it
That's
makes me
crazy to
it,
me.
but what also
That's
like I
probably why Dr. Viviana quit, which we can talk about that later.
and Dr. Viv, I'm gonna hit you, girl. I'm gonna hit your line because I need you to know that I'm really upset about that. How do y'all feel about them having two new experts?
I think that
We got to see him first before we really give. But I mean,
to
your
be
first thought.
honest, the one girl, I think her name is Priya or Priya
Pia,
Pia.
Pia,
Don't know her, don't know anything about her, so I'll be open to it. And obviously somebody had to fill Dr. Viviana's seat,
right,
so I'm fine with that.
right. How
The
you feel about
Divine
Divine?
Franklin situation, I don't get, and that's respectfully um to Divine. I know Divine. I know people who know Divine. This is no diss to Divine. I think Divine, and I told her this. I think Divine Franklin is a wonderful guy. I think he's a wonderful speaker. I think he's a wonderful entrepreneur. I don't get where
I don't get how
I
he
don't
falls
get
into
where
this.
the relationship guru thing came from. Even before the divorce, like before him and Megan Good got divorced, I did not understand how they vaulted into this space of
Like an it couple.
this. Not even an it couple, because Hollywood makes you anybody can be an it couple. You could just
Because
be
Amber Heard
and
and Johnny Depp was an it couple at
how
one
about that?
time.
So it to me it was just I just was kind of confused as to how they got to be this like ultimate relationship guru couple. I don't know where it came from, because especially if you know Megan Good and know of Megan Good, that
Don't.
was never her. That like no, I'm just saying like that
I
was
know,
never that was
but
never
watch
her.
yours.
That was never her reputation. That was never her. She was never walking around here, doing self help groups for women, and
But
you know what I mean.
still
So
don't think she really. I think she leaned into it because it was kind of like a necessity for her marriage. But I don't think that.
but just I don't know where it came from. So I said that to say, like, I don't know why he was picked by society to be this relationship guru, and I don't under. I think Lifetime picked him because it was a social attraction,
and it's not up for debate.
You know what
the
I'm saying?
Blacks will be watching.
They'll be watching
next season.
They were doing a
The
lot
Blacks.
of publicity stuff. They had written a book. They were doing.
That's a fact.
They was on Dr. Phil. They on Oprah. They
The
doing all of this stuff.
will be tuned in next season.
I don't understand where this
But I
aura
don't get
of
it
Barack
either.
and Michelle came and laid itself on Devon Franklin and Megan Good. This is before the divorce. I don't know where that came from. If somebody can help me,
But I don't think Barack should be a relationship expert.
I don't think they. No.
No.
I wasn't saying they were.
No, what I'm getting at is that what you're saying is people looked at them in this regality.
Yeah, like people look at Barack and Michelle. I'm like, where the hell did this come
from? And I'm
from?
saying that to be looked at that with that certain status does not make you.
Oh, yeah. 1,000%.
In the same vein for us,
right?
Just because it's the same thing. It's just like just because we chit chat about relationships don't make us relationship experts,
right?
We just chit chat. You know what I mean? Like, and do I think it's important to have men, especially men of color, talking to other men about how to be husbands? 1,000%. But do I think that there could have been a better resource?
Oh, 1,000%. To me, it was a publicity thing. It was a publicity grab. I don't like that.
I also don't like faith-based resources. I take real issue with that. As somebody who's really about the spirituality of everything, I think that it kind of co-ops a lot of things when people bring on like pastors and this and that, because just you being a pastor don't mean a motherfucking thing to me. So it's like, you know what I mean? So that doesn't, so for some people that might be this status symbol, but status symbol to me, if you're a doctor, a lawyer, engineer, you got status. You're a pastor, you just a man with a mic. So it's like, you might as well be 50 Cent. You know what I mean? For real. That's how I see it. And it's like, so for me, for things to be faith-based, I think that like, I don't like that. We already got Pastor Kyle. We don't need.
I just don't see
another faith-based resource.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Because all of his relationship things is rooted in faith. So it's not even like he gives advice.
But it's also not as if he himself has a track record of having a successful marriage.
Do you think
you
that matters?
Can't come? Absolutely, it absolutely matters. You can't. It's the reason why I have an issue with Steve Harvey being this relationship expert. You've been married 20 times, bro. You can you cannot tell me, you cannot come to me and advise me on how to grow my business when all you have had is your track record is failed businesses.
But
you've been bankrupt 1,000 times. You done started 6 businesses that all failed. Like, I'm not going to then bring you on as a consultant to sit on the board for my Fortune 500 company. So I keep the same energy when I'm thinking, when I'm producing in my mind these other shows and these other things. Like, but that's part of why I didn't understand the whole thing between, before they even got divorced, this whole crowning of them as these relationship gurus. It's part of why I didn't understand it then. You know what I'm saying? And I still don't understand it now. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think the adoration that I had for Devon Franklin was strictly was him as a motivational speaker. If you've ever heard this man talk, he got a mouthpiece on him, and this is not even faith-based. This is just like he was a speaker before he was.
He was a businessman before he was any of those things.
Right. So
he was on a lot. He was
right. He was
was a producer.
He was a big he was just a big executive at one of the studios.
He was a studio exec. Yes. Yes.
So he would go and do and speak and stuff as a motivational speaker before he kind of morphed into like even like that I've seen like before he was like kind of preaching and like coming to churches and stuff like that, right? But he's like on. I mean, if you want to get motivated, Devon Franklin will sit down and light a fire under your ass.
I love listening to him.
So, but this has nothing to do with like relationships or being a relationship expert. So I just don't get it. To me, it was a publicity grab. Like,
but I love listening to Charlemagne too. But I don't want Charlemagne on Love at First Sight
at all,
or Married at First Sight.
But what we found out was that he was signed on before the divorce happened, and he went to them and told them basically, sorry, like I don't know if you guys still want me, and they said, yeah, we still want you. To me, it was a publicity grab. Like they signed him on. It was no different from when we watch one of these shows that we love, Succession or something, and
Empire.
then
Did y'all remember when
Empire,
Empire started
and
bringing
then
everybody on? It's Mary J. Blige.
yeah,
This.
and
Oh,
then you see 50
God.
Cent and Puff Daddy come on, and you're like, why are we doing this?
Why are
That's
we
what it
doing
was to me.
this?
It was Lifetime going in that direction of like pop culture. Like, this is the hot guy and the it couple
Yeah.
on in the social world. So let's have him on as an expert
we
now,
don't
which is
think
corny to me. That's
what I
whack.
think it's corny, and I think that these people actually need scientific,
Professional help.
empirical, professional
Let's
help.
just get
And I mean that with
professional
all due respect. I
help.
do think that he can offer something, so don't get me jacked up. But I also think that like I said, I take issue with the faith-based thing, because I always tell people your pastor is not your therapist. Those are two different people.
They are definitely
And like, and I mean that again
spiritual
with all
guidance is
it is
different.
very
from,
different. It's
from
and if more of us knew that, especially in our community, we would be a lot better off. But when that sounds so bad, because I don't mean it how I said it.
No, it's literally just the aspect of don't go to your plumber to fix your car. That's all we saying.
That's all
it's
I'm
nothing
saying.
about
Like sometimes people
because I actually don't have to be honest, I think that Pastor Kyle doesn't even lean into his when we hear Pastor Kyle speaking to people, he's never Bible thumping to anybody, which I appreciate him for that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've never seen Divine in this space. I have no clue how he's gonna be.
We don't know, and that's true, but I also don't think we need it. I don't even, you know what I mean? I
No,
don't think we need it. I think we got a Pastor Kyle. I think Pastor Kyle is a phenomenal expert. I think that when he's given the opportunity to talk to these people, he always is bringing a gem. I think Dr. Pepper is a phenomenal resource when she has the opportunity to sit with these people, and I think they need more resources like that. We don't need
and more often. We don't need more people. We wanted to see them involved more often. We didn't say go get 2 more experts. It is not going to matter if they all don't appear but 3 times during the season.
Well, they didn't get Devon Franklin not to show his face.
I don't know. I
they
guess.
ain't get Devon Franklin not to show his face. Now you know what I mean.
But he's not what we were talking about. He's not who we asked for.
But he is not.
We
asked for like Dr. Ruth. You remember Dr. Ruth?
No, I don't know.
She was a sex expert. Ain't that wasn't her name Dr. Ruth? I'm like, I want to talk to actual experts. I think but I don't know. That's the kind of person I'm at.
I feel the same way though. Like
I want to talk to actual
bring on an
experts.
actual sex expert and not just Dr. Viviana.
Like literally. Well, no, Dr. Viviana is an expert.
No, she's not a sex expert. You said sex expert. That's what I mean. Like, if we're gonna do this thing, bring on these people that are bring on these people that specialize in these things. If that's what you want to do, like I'm down for that. If we bringing more people on, let's do that. Let's specialize it. You know?
Yeah. It just was really fascinating. Like, and I know we've gotten away from the show, but what we had to talk about was much more entertaining anyway, though.
Yeah, but
and I really want to know how y'all feel about Devon. I really want to know. Maybe we are being overzealous. I'm excited. I think he has an opportunity to be great. I just didn't.
I'm happy for him to have this opportunity as a person and as a black man.
Period.
I love that he continues to elevate just as a black professional.
But watching this show,
yeah. But congrats.
But also, never mind. I'm not pushing back on that a motherfucking thing else. This episode didn't give nothing, but we came through and gave y'all 50 minutes of love, sex, and magic. So y'all better been real maybe tapping into it. I enjoyed this conversation a lot.
Yeah.
And I didn't think I would, because I was done with this season of Married at First Sight. Not done with the season. I love Married at First Sight. I do love that they on this rolling thing. Don't get me wrong. I was done with these people.
Yeah.
Okay, so shout out to Noy and Steve. We wish you abundance and love and light. Shout out to Mark. We wish you light and love, honey. Shout out to Chris. You are phenomenal. I hope you meet somebody beautiful and amazing as you are. And shout out to Mike. Did I say that? Shout out to Mike. Big ups. I hope the girls is all up in your DMs. Katina and Elijah, we are sending love to you guys. We love that you all, Noy and Steve, Katina and Elijah, stay together. And this was I guess relatively successful season of Married at First Sight.
I wouldn't call it successful, but
it was something.
It was a season.
It was something. You know what I mean?
Out of all the seasons, this was one of them.
So Yeah, if you have not already, do us a favor. Bust it down. Answer our many temp questions in the comments because I had a plenty of them today.
Yeah.
And we want to know how you guys are feeling about the new season. Are we excited about San Diego? Where do we want to see them go after San Diego?
I don't know, but
But I
Sandy,
think that's a
I'm
question.
nervous about San Diego.
I'm too
I
nervous.
think there was a reason why y'all wasn't filming on the coast, and y'all should reevaluate that, cause it ain't nothing for y'all out here. I'm just telling you right now.
Joe
Stay
ain't
away
no
from
good.
California. Period.
Okay, well, he said what he said, honey. So again, if you have not already, do us a favor, subscribe to this channel. Let us know what you thought about this review or whatever this was. Just sound off, and we'll see you beautiful mothers and later.